Hey, what's up, all you huntsmen and huntresses out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm back again with Volume 8 of Rwby. This time it's episode 2 titled Refuge. And if you don't understand why this would be a title for an episode, you haven't been watching for the past season? So, with all the destruction that has been going on in Mantle, left to fend for itself by Atlas, by General Ironwood, literally left out in the cold. Yes, I know. But we pick up with Crow, still mourning the death of Clover. Ah, poor Crow. Man, there's a lot of controversy over Clover's death, but you know, it, it does a lot for Crow's character, if nothing else. His tendency to believe that he is a cursed person because of his semblance. I understand the discourse, but at the same time, it does a lot for his character and says a lot about Crow's semblance. Could that be why Clover died? Meanwhile, while Crow laments his position framed for the murder of Clover, Robin Hill is going at it with Jock, who's just like, oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry about the role I had to play in all this, but Wheatley, my son, will get me out of here by contacting my lawyers. I'll be out in a few days. Blah, 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 blah. Rich, rich, rich. Robin Hill, on the other hand, is distraught at the fact that she's in here with a whole bunch of people who did so much damage to Mantle and Atlas and the world. But she also is just upset that she can't get out there and help to do anything. That's the thing about being an activist, you tend to be very active. Meanwhile, Arthur Watts, who was locked in there with them, ends up being escorted out by the police in a very rough fashion, but considering what he did, I can kind of understand. Meanwhile, Crow makes it known to Robin that their best course of action would be to kill the person who put them in there, namely Ironwood. And while originally I would have felt some kind of way about all of this, the direction that Ironwood has been going is just like, yeah, maybe that's for the best, because Ironwood is doing some shit I just do not agree with, and I mean, that's the point. You don't agree with Ironwood's stance. He's gone in the direction that Batman, usually tries to go against. It's just like he doesn't take lives because he feels like that becomes the easier option, and he spirals and he just keeps doing it. And it's just like you see it with Ironwood. He felt like, okay, if I just kill my problems, if I just shoot my problems away, it'll be fine. It's not gonna be fine. It's not. So we pick up with a news broadcast of the situation going down in Mantle, with the question of why General Ironwood decided to halt all the evacuations of Mantle. But Joanna Greenleaf, Joanna Greenleaf comes in and just basically puts it down like it is, that Ironwood has abandoned us. Atlas has abandoned us. We're evacuating Mantle, taking them to the slums and to the crater. Come outside and join us if you want to live, which the people naturally do. Meanwhile, Yang's team arrives at Pietro's office to find what he left behind, namely hover bikes. Yeah, baby. Good times, good times. So they continue on with the evacuation efforts, doing their best to stop any Grim that might try to come in and stop them. But ultimately, Yang feels that maybe they should try to use um, Ren's semblance of masking in conjunction with Jean's semblance of aura enhancement to mask the entire crowd and move them to safety. However, we do have some complaints, mostly from the old people, about the fact that they'll be slumming it in the slums with the dirty animal faunest and all that. Ew. But Yang makes it very clear that, hey, your fellow humans left you to die, and the Faunus have opened their homes to you to help out. So that's about your best bet at this point. Wait for your savior who left you behind to maybe one day come back. Newsflash, you won't. Or go with the dirty animal people that you demean and are pretty racist against. So, yeah, they choose that, but not without a whole bunch of bitching and moaning and griping. Meanwhile, Oscar ends up having a heart to heart with Ozpin, with Oscar being none too plussed at the fact that Ozpin is back, because that means Ozpin will continue to integrate himself as a part of Oscar until they're just one and the same, which both lament. Oscar was feeling like he was actually making development in being himself, but ultimately he feels that that was all for nothing. And I feel for the kid. It's just like you want to be a better version of yourself, but you don't want that to come at the expense of that other version of yourself being from someone else. Meanwhile, Ren is kind of struggling a little bit because it's a large crowd that he's transporting, and while Jean tries his best to, give him a pep talk, Ren makes it clear that he doesn't want that. So Ren's continuing to be a bit of a poo-poo head during the course of this series. Like, man, Ren, I always kind of liked you for your stoicism, but you're kind of taking a bad turn for me there, buddy. Meanwhile, whereas um, we find out that May has gone with Ruby's group to help him out since her semblance is masking, well, invisibility, so that should come in handy for what they're trying to do, an infiltration mission. And they infiltrate the Schnee dust delivery depot, which delivers dust up to Atlas, which, I always wondered what all those cables coming out of Atlas was, so it makes a lot of sense. Very good planning on that end. And we have a bit of a heart to heart between Penny and Rwby, where Penny laments a couple of things. One, that she laments the fact that Ironwood, Winter, the Aesops all kind of turned against Rwby and her friends. That they didn't, value enough human life enough. That was ultimately the deciding factor for what Penny chose, because they choose the greater good over maintaining human life, and that just doesn't fly with her. But she also kind of questions what Ironwood said last episode about blaming her for any loss of life because she didn't go over to Ironwood's side. But Rwby makes that known. That was Ironwood, using a tactic on her, trying to guilt her into coming back to him. She made the right choice ultimately, but she has to have faith and confidence in that, because that's what makes her human, to care. They also end up finding the access port that'll lead them right to the military base, so they got that going on. Meanwhile, we have a nice little moment between Joanna and Fiona, who is leading operations now in place of Robin. I thought it was May, but it's actually Fiona who's leading things. And Joanna tries her best to, get her cheered up a little bit. She's struggling a little bit, but she's doing a pretty good job, all things considered. We also have the return of Yang's team to the slums with another group, which Fiona's happy about, that they're clearing out Mantle, very quickly. However, all these people together in one place has led to a lot of infighting. And while they're trying to find other places to get people, give them their own space, Joanna has to deal with a lot of the infighting between humans and Faunus and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, Fiona tasks Yang's team with clearing out some Grim out of Mantle. That's basically the best they can do to hopefully get Mantle back under their control. So they do their best there. But once they clear out one Grim, in comes more, and they already have a report of Grim in another location that they need to get to, so it's a lot of work. However, this pack of Grim ends up turning around after they notice something. And they immediately question this, Yang and her team. because they've never seen Grim turn tail and run. However, they quickly get their answer when the Hound comes in, viciously attacks Oscar, completely disables his aura shield, and knocks him out, capturing him. And despite the fact that Yang and her team try their best to get Oscar back, the Hound uses Oscar as a shield, which takes them off guard because it's just like, never seen a Grim think like that, and it especially becomes bad when they demand the Hound give up Oscar, and the Hound responds with a grisly no. It's just like, a Grim that talks? That's that's creepy, honestly. That is unnerving. Everything about the Hound is unnerving. I wasn't expecting all of this. It's, dude, like, can this thing think? What is this thing made from? This is no ordinary Grim. Maybe it's just been that long lived because, that's the thing. We've heard before that the older Grimm get, the smarter and more intelligent they get. This thing would have to be very old. I'm talking very old. But then it up and sprouts wings and flies away with Oscar, with Yang and the rest in pursuit. And that ends the episode. Like, yo, I was not expecting that. I knew the Hound was coming after Oscar. I was not expecting it to be intelligent enough to talk. That is unnerving and kind of freaky and kind of badass. But, you know, I like that we have some context for how deliveries are made up to Atlas aside from just air transport. You don't want to waste all of your airships all on that, so it's nice that that is in motion. Fiona, I wonder if she's going to play a bigger role in this season, especially after the fact that last season she was basically just gave provocation to Robin Hill to go after Ironwood for the most part and to doubt Penny. But, nice that the Happy Huntresses aren't completely lost and without Robin. They're still able to function and do their job and believe in the cause. So I like that conviction, if nothing else. And that moment between the four in the cell, Crow, um, Robin, Jacques and Arthur. It was a nice little bit of an interaction, but they all have a bone to pick with Ironwood for a number of reasons. Like, it's so fascinating. It went from kind of feeling like Ironwood went from being someone you sympathized with at the beginning of last volume to being someone you just like, yeah, it feels bad that Crow wants to kill him, but at the same time, yeah, he's kind of spiraling. So yeah, that might be the only choice. That man has a little too much power. Like, I feel like I'm siding with Jacques now, but for all the wrong, all different reasons now. Whereas Jacques, it was all selfish reasons, but now it's just like, yeah, Ironwood has got to go. He really does. But with all these people crowded into one place, naturally it's attracting more and more Grimm, and not just the ones that Salem sent out, but just Grimm in general that would usually appear because of stuff like that. So it's a no-win situation really, and they're handed, they're undermanned, they really could use more help. And honestly, I'm wondering where Team Funky is. Like, I'm surprised that we haven't seen them aside from that training mission. It's unfortunate. But, that's the end of this review. Tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. What did you think about the Hound and how intense he was? Like a Grim speaking? Yo, dude, yo. And the division between Yang's group and Rwby's group. It's unfortunate. Ren, oh man, what you doing, dude? It's a sad situation. And Penny's growing guilt. That's definitely gonna lead to some shit. But again, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out another Rwby episode review. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye bye.